This is a story of how I won first place on Draftkings fantasy football. The entry fee was only 10 cents, so I made it up pretty big, winning $100. It happened in 2021 and I was playing NFL Captain Showdown. In Captain Showdown, you have a $50,000 salary cap. You have $50K to spend on players who will score you the most points. Their cost depends on how they did the previous week. Now, if you look at my winning lineup, you're going to think that I'm an absolute moron because let's go ahead and relook at it. I have one captain who's a tight end. I have a quarterback, and then the rest are running backs. That's just not something that you want to do. Typically, you need wide receivers, you need people who can catch the ball, you need quarterbacks who can throw the ball, and maybe a running back that can actually hold the ball, right? So in this case, everything that you're supposed to be doing, I did completely opposite. And I'm actually going to tell you a story of how I got here. So in 2021, I had no clue what fantasy football was. I never even watched a football game. I didn't watch any Super Bowl games. All I ever did was watch maybe a halftime show that was on YouTube. I was a total newbie. I did not mean to win this, but somehow I did. And I think at the end of the day, there were some logic into it. I remember we were traveling for work that weekend, so I couldn't sleep at like this weird hotel. I was on my phone and just reading through the stats, trying to figure out who to pick for my lineup. And what happened was I read that some of the people who were supposed to show up couldn't show up in London. Now, that's really important because the guys who did better in the previous week was not there. And so my logic was like, okay, if your best wide receiver isn't there, the ball is just going to keep going to the tight end who's known to be explosive, right? Even though, he's not doing as good as he was before, maybe in some of the games, he still will be the guy. So there goes my first person, my captain, Kyle Pitts. Who's throwing to Kyle Pitts? That would be Matt Ryan. I think I took him over the other quarterback. Every time Kyle Pitts, had a touchdown, that's because of Matt Ryan threw the ball. And usually that's the case. And then in terms of not having other wide receivers, then I was like, okay, let's make sure the running backs are there. And it's kind of weird because they were using Patterson and Davis at the same time. So it's like a 50-50 chance. Like, I don't know. And I think that's why I chose both of them, because I was like, I can't figure out who they're going to prefer, right? If it's Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan, and then I know for sure it's Patterson, who else would it be? You can see that not many people picked Davis. It was like only 38%. So I was like, okay, I think my logic was just like, let's screw it. I think Patterson's getting the ball, and I also think Davis will get the ball. It's gonna be more than everybody else. For Carter, it was kind of obvious too. He was replacing the other guy. So I was like, okay, Carter is probably my safe bet there. When I woke up, the person who was winning this was actually somebody who had the kicker. So if you were to look at the score, Davis scored last. He only had 6 points at the time. And if you were to go to the football database here, you can sort of see that the kicker at this point had 3 points, and then he had 4 points because there's another goal after the touchdown, and then he scored again, so that's 7 points right there by the second quarter. So the guy in second place or the guy in first place at the time had this, and I was like, okay, well, for some reason in the fourth quarter, at 12 minutes, Mike Davis ran in and got the last touchdown, and so the kicker kicked it in, but of course 7 points overall. And then if you were to tally it up, the kicker was just right under here. So that's essentially what happened. And with this, the reason why I chose Kyle Pitts, the reason why I chose Matt Ryan is I always look at the data, and what the data tells you week over week is that who receives the ball the most, who throws the ball, like does he like throwing the ball, does he like to catch the ball, and you look at how many attempts there are too. So let's say out of the entire quarter he had like 10 times or 10 opportunities to throw the ball, and how many times did his players catch it? And of that player who was thrown to like 10 times, did he catch it all 10 times, or did he catch it like 20 times, right? So there goes some like math in my head that I was always trying to figure out in the very beginning. And I was like, okay, I see the probability. That's just me being a data nerd trying to go through like figuring it out. But And that's pretty much it. So I would like to know if you have won before and how much you've won, because I don't expect me to play so much this year, but if anyone's interested, I would love to just go through like a weekly thing of just some people that I would choose, and I would definitely go back to this strategy and play the 10 cents game. My logic is pretty much, hey, if this game exists, I'm gonna play it because it's only 10 cents. Actually, the crowns are there for me anyway, so I might as well just use it. And if I win $100, that's good. If I win, $2, that's good. It's all about just milking it out for the rest of the season up into the Super Bowl and just go on from there.